Hello, welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. Our next guest has done something that is rarely done, defeat an incumbent Republican in Orange County, and she's also part of something that hasn't been done for 130 years. She's part of a supermajority Democrat in the Assembly in Sacramento. With us now is Assemblywoman Sharon Quirk-Silva. Thank you very much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very excited to have the honor to serve as the 65th Assemblywoman.
So your term just getting underway. You've been named to a couple select committees and standing committees. Tell us about the committees that you're on.
I am. I'm now the new chair of the Select Committee on Transportation, the Select Committee on Jobs in the Economy, and in both of those tied together, our goal is going to be to bring jobs back to Orange County in the 65th District.
How does an assembly person do that? I mean, really, you have one vote. You can write some legislation, but a vote is a vote.
Well, I think one of the first things we're going to do is get out into the district and talk to our small business, large business owners, find out what they feel are the barriers and what are the obstacles, what type of legislation has been working, what kind of legislation they feel is creating obstacles. So really talk to those in the district that are affected by the policies in Sacramento. In transportation, we know that those big infrastructure projects are going to be projects that not only serve our community, but put people back to work.
Two of the things that you brought up, one about job creation. California is known as one of the unfriendliest business places to work. So specifically, what can you do, especially when there's talk about Prop 13 about increasing business property taxes?
There is, and I've had several meetings up in the Capitol this week with people who are concerned about over-regulation. I'm listening to that carefully, but I also want to be listening to how do we make sure the policies we put into place also are policies that have concern for the environment, that have concern for our communities, but also aren't over-regulating. So how do you do that? I think one of the things is finding out who's responsible, because in my local community, one of the things we found out is we, in fact, as a city, were responsible for some of that over-regulation. So really finding out what some of those ordinances on the books that are ancient, sometimes 1950s regulations, and what can we do about that, and making sure that we're looking at reform for those that are just causing businesses to shut down.
What would be your position as far as changing Prop 13 as it stands on business taxes specifically?
Well, Prop 13, you know, we've been living with that in Orange County. We've had quite a bit of discussion as we're funded as the 48th funding in the county, and we're feeling like this is something that we're working with the governor right now to try to figure out how can we bring more dollars back into Orange County. But Prop 13 is kind of a hard complex issue to unravel, but we'll be looking at that.
I think that's what we're hearing is going to happen. Now, one of the standing committees that you're on is higher education, an influx of cash, Prop 30 passing. What are you looking at as the changes in higher education? And when it comes to the accountability and administrative review position that you have, I keep hearing from Republicans that they are going to make sure that the money raised from Prop 30 actually goes to education and doesn't go into the general fund.
Exactly, and I agree with that. We need to make sure what the voters voted for, that that's protected and it goes into education, not only K-12, but of course higher ed. And with higher ed, there are many obstacles for students. The access into classrooms, many students have been waiting in line to get the classes in order to complete a 2-year degree that is now pushed out to a 4-year degree because they have to wait so long. So sitting on that higher ed committee, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we're looking at students first.
30 seconds left. What is your quick interpretation of the governor's budget, which she just released?
Well, I feel that it's optimistic in the sense that we're not looking at the drastic cuts that we've had to really see our voters, our constituents bear the brunt of.
All right. Sharon Quirk-Silva, nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us for this local edition. I'm Leslie Leyton.